Okay, so this is a really fun exercise, and in some ways we've already started with this, as you had the Joe Dispenza breathing material that was sent out a week ago. And now if not, you can always, if you're like, oh, where's that? I don't even know where I put that. Where's that in the material? You could just pop onto YouTube real quick and type in Joe Dispenza breathing, and you could visit that. Just as a reminder, because that's a real powerful breath. It's a little more complex than what we're going to do today. But if you've mastered that, if you're good at that, that would certainly be a very effective technique to use today. If for some reason you don't feel confident with that one, you're not ready for it. I mean, it is powerful. It has great results. I'm just going to lead you through that same coherent breath, because all of you can breathe in for 6 and exhale for 6. And you can certainly go onto YouTube also and type in coherent breathing. You can go to Spotify, or you can go to SoundCloud and you type those in and type in coherent breathing, and you'll have those breathing cues to help you do an inhale for 6 and an exhale for 6. So you could pop that on. You could pause me, go find some coherent breathing. Some of you may want to revisit the Joe Dispenza technique if you want to use that little more complex but super effective, super powerful technique that is a review from something I gave you a week ago as homework. Or you could just do, like I said, coherent breathing, like keep it simple. Whatever you want to do, I'm going to let you pause and decide how you want to approach this. If you already have that coherent breathing mastered, you don't even need a cue. Go ahead and just keep going. If you would like to revisit Joe Dispenza, go ahead and do that. Or you could find a coherent breathing audio track to support you in this process. So you can pause me now, make a decision of what breath you want to do for this. So I'm assuming you're back now, and what this is called is pineal gland breathing, and breathing into the mind's eye, the eye that dreams at night. And when you look at this picture, I really like you to take a look at the picture on the screen. You can see the pineal gland, but you can also see there's a little bit of an eye like in your head, and that there's a little tiny gland, and then there's that whole space that's actually called the third eye. That's the third eye in your head, and it's that space that is your clairvoyance. Now you might say, oh, I'm not clairvoyant. Well, have you ever had a dream at night? That's clairvoyant. Have you ever visualized something? That's clairvoyant. Have you ever imagined something? That's clairvoyant. Have you ever had a fantasy with visuals in it? That's clairvoyant. So we all have that. And when we're kids, we really are very, very good at that. And as we get older, sometimes we just do less imaginary activities and we get very grounded into the physical. So this exercise is to bring you back to fire up your imagination. And I would like to do some breathing into that space now so that we energize that space and activate that third eye. And so now's the time for you to either start that coherent breathing or that Joe Dispenza breathing technique. And you can put me on pause and start that now, and just breathing into that space you see on the screen. You know, that third eye in the middle of your head, you don't need to look at the picture while you're breathing. You can just close your eyes and take 5 minutes to energize that space and just flow some energy, open it up, reactivate it. And I say reactivate it because it was probably very active when you were a child. So you can put me on pause and come back to me when you feel you've had you've really energized that area through your breath and you feel relaxed. Okay, so now that you probably have come back to me, I am assuming you're ready to do the inner vision exercise, the clairvoyant exercise. So clairvoyance is the ability you have to see visual images as intuitive clues. Now, what you must understand when you get visual images as intuitive clues is that they're usually symbols. They're usually symbolic of something. So the thing about the symbols is you have to interpret them. They can be metaphorical symbols. So you might see a picture of a bee in your mind or an apple, and you have to say, what does the bee mean to me? You know, you might say, what does that have to do with my situation? Then you ask yourself, what does a bee symbolize to me? You don't need to go ask somebody unless you have a strong, overwhelming, intuitive hit to go ask somebody their opinion of what a bee means symbolically. That could happen. You're going to have to follow your guidance. But if you have a strong knowing of what a bee means to you, don't go ask somebody else unless your guidance is saying, please ask somebody else, and it might say who. So if you get, like, say, a picture of an apple or a snake or a leaf, you always ask yourself, what does this mean to me? And you do the same with your dream work. When you're interpreting your dreams, you do the same thing. You, the symbols, the characters, you know, often we'll see that childhood friend in a dream. Why did I dream about somebody I haven't seen for 25 years? So you have to ask yourself, what does that person symbolize to you? Or a random stranger you met. I had a dream about an old Phuket Cleanse staff the other day, and I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure it out why I dreamed about her, except that I had seen her on Facebook that day. And then I just thought, well, I saw her on Facebook, so that's why I dreamt about her. Well, that's the easy way out. You want to go deeper and deeper. You don't want to be lazy about this. So if I think about it, what did she represent to me? And then sometimes you don't know. Sometimes at like the surface, you don't know. But I guarantee if you go deeper, and again, I always say, well, if I was going to pay you $1 million in 5 minutes, could you figure out what she represents to you? And people always say, yes. So I want you to think about that. If you get like an image of a friend or you know, either I could ask myself, if I absolutely couldn't figure out what she represented to me, I could go ask somebody if I felt that there's no way I could figure out what she represented to me. I could go ask some of our other friends, what does she represent to you? And that might be a beautiful way for me to dig deeper into myself if I felt the need, if I'd exhausted my ability to really analyze what she meant to me, what she symbolized to me, then I would go maybe ask some other people, and that would be a beautiful way for me to dig deeper into myself to see what she represents to other people. It could be a beautiful way to go search out your universe. But I guarantee if you see somebody in an image or in a dream, they do represent something to you because you brought them into your life. You attracted them into your life with what energy, with what beliefs about yourself, with what doubts, with what needs. Why did they show up in your life? Because you needed them to show you and reflect something. So I guarantee they represented something to you. And if you can't figure it out, you can go ask people. You could do that too. If you see a picture of a bee and you say, bees mean absolutely nothing to me, maybe I'll go ask all the cool people in my life what a bee means to them. And wouldn't that be interesting to get more feedback? Because your universe can be, you might choose to get your feedback via other people because that's more playful, more fun, more interactive to get your intuitive feedback. So I hope you understand that. Interpreting clairvoyant images that come to you or in an instant or in a meditation or in a dream, they're all the same. But it's about interpreting symbols. That's why there's a million books on dream interpretation. And again, as I always say, if you do not know, if you want to reach out and say, I don't know what this person means to me, or I don't know what a bee means to me, I don't know what a leaf, seeing a symbol of a leaf means to me. If you want to reach out to me and ask me if you want to tap into me as one of the friends in your universe, I would be more than happy to do that, because I think this is such a fun, you know, hide and seek game with the universe when we really begin to read the symbols of our lives. So let's go back to this clairvoyant exercise. I told you to do that deep breathing into your head to activate the pineal gland. And I told you all this stuff about interpreting symbols. Now I actually need to bring you back to that exercise and ask you to go back to breathing deep into the mind's eye. So you start by posing a question. You can pose a question, or if you have a partner or a friend, you can ask them to pose a question. Now, what's great about partners, I feel that you will be much more successful because you're not so attached to the answer. So I much prefer this with partners, with friends, with family members. So if you go to a friend, or you have somebody near you, or you call somebody, they might be at the office, you're at the office, you can do this in your own time. You don't have to be together, and you don't have to be on real time. So if I had a partner, I could say to my partner, hey, write down a question you'd like some guidance on. Like, do you have a question? Or if you were to go see a psychic, what would you ask a psychic? And you could either share an intention. What's an intention you'd like some supportive guidance on? Or what's just a question? So an intention should come to you in a statement. Like if your friend has a needs, and if your friend says, I want to buy a new car and I don't know how to buy a new car and I don't know what new car I want, then that could be their question. Or I'm bringing a new car in my life. I can feel it coming. It's on its way, but I'd like to fill in the blanks of the car. What color do I want? What dealership should I go to? There's multiple ways to ask questions. Or you could say, what kind of car should I buy? What dealership should I go to? Or should I buy a used car or a new car? You know, people can ask questions in any way. You can contact a friend or a family member, or you can be in close proximity, however you want to do it. Ask them to give you a question, and you do the same for them if they're willing to play this game. And then you take some time, maybe play some binaural beats. Go onto YouTube, Spotify, or SoundCloud and type in the word theta binaural beats, and start doing this third eye breath work, this pineal gland breath work, whether it's the coherent breathing where you're doing in for 6 and out for 6, breathing into that inner eye area, into the pineal gland, beginning to activate that. So you simply hold the question in your hand if you're trying to answer a question for yourself, or the intention statement you want guidance on. Or if you've got a partner, you feel into their question. They write their question down and you just feel into it, and you just breathe through it. And then visual images at some point might come to you that are random, and they will have to be interpreted. So you do that exercise in a meditation for as long as you like, and then you can record with the voice recorder on your phone the images that come to you. Or you can have a little piece of paper in your meditation. You can go and come out of your meditation and jot it down. I think a recorder is better because you don't have to jot it down, and you record the images that come to you. Or you can just try to remember the images that come to you, however you want to do it. And then when you come out of the meditation, you have a list of these random symbolic images, and you ask yourself, what do these mean to me? Do they mean anything to me? If they mean something strong to you, you can share to your partner, this image means this to me. It means breakthrough. It means freedom. Or if it doesn't mean anything to you, you could say, I got this image. I got an image of a flower, but a flower really doesn't mean anything to me. What does it mean to you? When I felt into your question, I got the image of a flower. What does that mean to you? How do you interpret that in relation to your question? You can ask your partner to interpret the images, or you could provide some sharing of what that means to you, and give your partner the invitation to also provide some sharing what that image would mean to them in relationship to the question. So if you feel a strong, overwhelming feeling, you know what that image means, then that message is probably more for you than your partner to interpret it for your partner. Say, I saw an image of I saw an image of a butterfly. Butterfly always means this is a time of transformation, and it always means breakthrough, and it always means there's something beautiful on the other side. So I feel strongly that's the message. Or if you're like, well, it kind of means this for me, but I didn't have a real strong feeling about it. What does a butterfly mean to you? So if you don't feel that overwhelming knowing of, you know, what that image means to you, then offer an invitation to the partner to help you interpret the image, because obviously the image was really meant for them to interpret in relation to the question, not for you to do. So just play with it in that way if you're working with a partner. If you're working by yourself, you'll have to interpret the images for yourself. But as I said before, if you're like, I have no idea what a butterfly means, I'm totally stuck. Who could I go ask? Who would I like to go ask in my environment? What does a butterfly mean to you? Or I feel the desire to ask Google, what does a butterfly symbolize? And you can go to Google if you feel, but feel into where you feel you want that source of information, you know, to come from. If you can't interpret what that means, then you feel into, do I want to ask Google? Do I want to ask my friend Jenny? Do I want to ask my mom? You can feel into who you should seek for the information. But this is the point of clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is quite often when I take people through a meditation and I tell them to focus on their other intuitive gifts, they tend to fall back into clairvoyance, even if they don't feel in their waking life they were normally clairvoyant. They often will fall back on it because images will come to them deep in a meditation, because they start in a deep meditation and move into that dream state when those images in that third eye starts to activate. So it could just come real naturally to you. But the problem with that is most people don't know how to ground those images that come in clairvoyance. They don't realize that those were intuitive hits. They don't ground it and interpret it. And so that's really what this exercise is about, is grounding those images from your clairvoyant images you get in meditations or you get in dreams. If you start interpreting your dreams too, you will begin to get into the practice of grounding symbolic images and taking that information and using that. So there you go. You're already psychic. You really are. It's a matter of grounding the information and interpreting it and acting on it and using it. So have fun with this game. If you're going to do it with yourself or a friend, and hopefully it becomes a part of your regular life. If it does, I promise you will get so many benefits in your life, and you will be in the right place in the right time doing the right thing as you start to interpret these clairvoyant images that come into your life.